Hi everyone. One of the projects that I did with my sixth graders this year was to do an oil pastel drawing of a tree, and we used the oil pastels in the background to color in the negative space. The negative space is just the shapes that you see in the background, and we mixed colors with the oil pastels. And I used a black sheet of construction paper for this project, and I also used the oil pastels and glued the black paper onto another larger sheet of white paper or tan paper. And then I took some Sharpie markers and I did some writing in the background. And I'm going to break down the steps for you. If you don't have the same exact materials, that's fine. But I'm going to start by giving you an overview of how to draw a tree. And the example that I put up at the beginning of this video, I actually did not make. It was an example that one of my former students, Colleen, made, and she's a very talented sixth grader. I hope you enjoy her work, and I'm going to show you how to do a similar project. The first thing you should do is to practice drawing trees in your sketchbook or on a white sheet of paper. And I start by drawing the trunk, and I make it wide, and I kind of curve it down a little bit. I make a V in the middle of those two lines, and then I just extend those lines, and you can make your branches go any which way that you want. But I just keep putting little V's and branching them out. And as you get doing this, you will find that your branches will make little shapes in between them. And this is what we're going to use for our negative space. You can see right here, my branches kind of collided into each other, and that gives me a shape. That's what your goal is as you're drawing your tree. And just practice this on scrap paper. If you find that something looks empty, you can always go ahead and erase and make another branch coming off somewhere if you need to. But I would just practice this, and then when you get the hang of it, we're going to go and put a final one on a black sheet of construction paper. So I've drawn my tree on a black piece of construction paper, and I just drew that in pencil, and I outlined it here in white colored pencil just so that you can see it a little bit better. You don't have to outline it just yet if you don't want. But the next step after I draw the tree onto the black construction paper and get it on there is to get some oil pastels. So I have my practice paper back again, and I've got myself some oil pastels. You can use any brand of oil pastels. I've got some Crayola ones here. And I just recommend that you take some colors and practice coloring with them. They're like crayons, but they're a little more creamy, so that when you color with them, you'll notice they're a little bit greasy. The one thing that I really love about oil pastels is that you can mix and blend with them. So if I were to take another color over the top, put some blue over there, and they kind of like mix together, and you can swirl them together. Also, you could take white over the top. I would recommend that before you do this project, you play around with mixing colors before you go onto your black paper and just see what kind of color scheme you like. Colors that are next to each other on the color wheel will tend to blend more and make a prettier color. And if you take colors that are opposite each other, like blue and orange, they're going to make brown. So play around with it first so you don't mess up your final. And then I'm going to get started on my final. So I'm ready to start coloring in the background of my final. I'm coloring the negative space, which means I'm only going to color those shapes. I'm not going to color the tree, just the background space. I've laid out some colors that I found blended well together, and I'm going to use those. I'm going to go ahead and start coloring and mixing, and I hope to speed it up in the frame so that you can see go by a little bit faster here. So I finished my tree. You can see in my painting in the background that I like to do trees a lot, but I outlined this with the white oil pastel just because I like that look, how it cleans it up a little bit. And the next thing that you can do, if you have a larger sheet of white or tan paper, or any color you want really, I'm going to take a glue stick and I am going to glue that down. So I've got myself some Sharpie markers, or you can use any kind of markers. The last thing I'm going to do is to add some writing around the border in the lighter piece of paper, just to give it a little something extra. I tell my students they can write about anything. They can write about things they're thinking about, what the picture reminds them of, how they're feeling. They could write down song lyrics. You can write just about anything you want in the background. I like to pick colors that I've already used, just to tie the piece together for some unity. And write in your regular handwriting size. I don't know what I'm going to write about. Maybe I'm going to write, it was snowing here this morning and it's spring, so I might write, why is it snowing today? And I'm going to write about everything I'm thinking about the weather. So I recommend that you write in your normal size handwriting. You'll have to forgive me because I'm trying to figure out how to work this webcam. But I have finished mine and I'm going to kind of zoom in. I just wrote like a big stream of consciousness about, it started out with talking about how cold it was, and then I started talking about how we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I was just writing my feelings about that, and how I'm glad that I can go outside and enjoy nature still, but I'm missing everybody. I'm going to put up a few examples that other sixth graders have done, so you can get some ideas of color choices and different things that maybe they wrote about to give you some inspiration. And if you do this project, send me a picture. I'd love to see what you're doing. Bye, guys. Miss ya.